First thing I would like to read is from Sunday from August 2nd, 2009. This was the first testimony I gave at this church. First, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak boldly. I was born in Queens, New York, and all I can remember about my early years is that I lived in boarding homes with my brother, and sometimes he would be in a different home because my parents were divorced. I never remember sitting down having dinner with my parents. My dad never watched me play baseball or took me fishing or to a ball game. I was 14 years old when I met Ann, and she was 12. Our parents were also divorced. This is when we lived in Flushing, Queens, New York. Family problems forced Ann to move to Philadelphia, and she was 14. She lived with a family that had an only daughter, the same age. I cannot drag the story on, so I'm going to try to make my point. One day, I had a pretty bad cold, and I remember this. It's a very rainy day. I was thinking about Ann, so I thought I would write her a letter. Well, needless to say, she moved back to Queens, and we began coming steady. Ann also had her bout living in different boarding homes, so we connected. We married in 1956. Ann was 17, and I was 19. We were married 3 days, and I was shipped out to Germany with the 42nd Armored Infantry Battalion. We started our family when I returned from Germany. We have 2 children, Laura and Jeff. My daughter works at the Space Center and has a son 21 years old. I'm very proud of her. She works very hard and is very compassionate. My son has a boy and a girl and a lovely wife, both doing great. My son has his own business in Roanoke, Virginia. He is my buddy and would do anything for his family. I worked in the Fulton Fish Market on the East River in New York City. I was running with a pretty rough crowd. All they wanted to do was hijack trucks and make a quick buck. I can still vision mafia in their powder blue suits walking around. So with 2 small children, I figured the best thing I could do was for all of us to move on. God only knows where we would be today if we stayed. We bought a house, small house in Pennsylvania, had a garden and a few pets. It was great. We lived there for 12 years. My brother lived in Denison, Texas, as was in the Air Force. His wife and 12-year-old son were killed in an auto accident. When I went to the funeral, I really got hooked on that town. It was about 70 miles north of Dallas. There were plenty of kids in our neighborhood, so we all fit in real well. Ann went to North Texas State University for early child development, child education, and received her degree. Then we opened a daycare, started real small, and as time went on, we took care of 90 to 100 children 5 days a week for 10 years. As you all know, I was a Cowboy fan, so I fit in real well. We moved to Cocoa Beach 1982. Why Cocoa Beach? Because my son was stationed at Patrick Air Force Base. He said, "Pop, this is where you want to be," so here we are, and this is our last stop. Now this is the best part of the story. I call this coincidence. On my 50th wedding anniversary, we got the whole family together and took them to Christini's restaurant in Orlando. It was a happy time to have the family together. At the table before dinner, I tapped my glass and I told my family to all look at each other. I made this brief statement. I told them the story of when I wrote that letter to Ann, and I truly believe if I did not write that letter to Ann, we would not be sitting here tonight. I believe in my heart that God had this all planned out, and it worked out just fine. He gave me a special person to share my life with, and we have a wonderful family. I told them that when you make a choice in life, you should think it over real well, because that choice could change your entire life. I believe if I did not make that choice, my life would have been a mess. The first 15 years of my life were very difficult, but when God gave me Ann, it turned my life around. She's my best friend, and I will always love her. And thank God for her every day. Well, here it is, year 2013. Since 2009, something has changed in our lives. We really do not want to say what it is at this time, but many of you do know. Last year was pretty rough, and I had to go on Prozac for anxiety and depression. All I wanted to do was sleep. Lost a lot of weight. My son came down from Roanoke. In between my daughter and him, they helped me get my life back together. I was taking 40 milligrams of Prozac, and right now I'm down to 10, so I'm doing a lot better. Also going to the beach early sunrise, surf fishing, letting your heart out to the man upstairs. Wow, that really helps. As you get older, things happen, some good and some bad. One great thing that happened is that we have in our family now a wonderful man that married our granddaughter, and they gave us a beautiful great-granddaughter. Now, there are some hard days, but I set my mind to do my best and to do things to make a good life. Sometimes hard to do, but you have to hang in there. I think the most important thing in life is when you make a commitment, you need to stick to it. Right now, the most important thing in my life is my wife, Ann. Life can throw me a lot of curves, but nothing will ever change the love I have for her. That's for sure. When you get in your 70s, it seems that time really goes by fast. So try and enjoy life as much as you can. All I can say is when things get tough, you get tougher, and keep Jesus in your heart. Family is so important. Having someone to talk to is also very important. And I am a firm believer in keeping your family together. Thank you, and Jesus loves you all.